Hey, fifth grade students, and welcome to Camp Week. I am so happy that I get to be a part of it this week. And what I am bringing you today is how to create painted rocks that tell a story. And this is going to be camping style. So, from my understanding and my personal experience with story rocks, is that each rock has a picture. And then you put these rocks together, you can move them around, and you become the storyteller. Maybe not just you, but people that you are surrounded with. So if you think about it, if you've ever been camping and you're sitting around a campfire, and a lot of the things that can happen around a campfire involve storytelling, singing songs, and what's really cool about these rocks is they give you this opportunity to create these stories and use your own imagination and the people that you're surrounded with to have fun creating stories that make you laugh and whatever direction they go in. So let's go ahead and get started. The materials that you're going to need obviously are rocks. Now, you can either purchase rocks. There are painted rock. So if you were to go to like Walmart or Meijer, specifically Walmart though is where I've seen it, is you can actually buy like a painted rock kit. I did not do that, and I know that that is probably not necessarily an opportunity or something that you'd be able to do. So I just went around my house and found rocks. And I say be creative with the different surfaces. Think about the surface and imagine what a picture would look like on it. Also, you will need some small brushes, and you will also need I used acrylic paints, maybe some water, and also I just used a paper plate. But you could also just use cardboard or anything that is a surface that you can put your paints on and throw it away after. If you happen to have paper towel, that's helpful too, to dry your brush off, or you can use a old rag or an old sock. Okay, so those are some of the materials that you're going to need. Let's go ahead and I can show you how I'm going to get started with just showing you a few tips with painting. Here we go. Okay, so you can obviously see my materials here, and I have 6 rocks. 5 of them are painted and 1 is not. So before I get into my kind of how I would tell stories with this, I want to show you some painting techniques, okay? So I'm gonna move some of these off to the side. Some of these pictures are pretty self-explanatory, which is important because anybody who's around you needs to understand what the picture is, what that image is, in order to participate in storytelling. So I have this rock, and the last image that I wanted to create on this was just a sunshine. So I have my acrylic paints. Now, I got these acrylic paints at Hobby Lobby. It was a huge set, and they had a really big sale. This was probably close to like a half a year ago. So whatever acrylic paints you have, that is going to work nice. If you're into really getting into doing some more of these rock paintings, I would suggest paint pens, and you can also get paint pens at Walmart or Meijer. Maybe Joann's, I'm not really sure, but I know that the stores that you could go to right now would be Walmart and Meijer. So those are some of your options. When it comes to paintbrushes, because you're working on rocks that may be small and you want to get some fine details, I would suggest getting some fine tip brushes. Here's a trick. If you have a larger brush and you're okay with it becoming a smaller brush, you can cut that brush and kind of make it smaller, and you can take off some of the bristles of the brush, but make sure it's yours and you can do that, okay? So these are the ones that I used. Some of these are a little bit more flat, okay, and some of them are a little bit more pointed, okay? So what I'm going to do, here's my paper plate. Okay, and so I'm going to take my paints here and squeeze a little bit of yellow, because I'm going to be doing just a sunshine, just a really big sun here. So I imagine the sun is not just yellow to me. It's a huge, like a big old fire. So That's what I think about. Oh, I haven't used this one yet. This is kind of an in-between orange and yellow. So you see, I'm not even, when you're putting your paints out on your palette, whatever you use for your surface, you do not need a lot, okay? Because you're painting pretty small. All right, so I'm gonna start out with my lightest color. Okay, I'm gonna use this square brush to kind of create a circle here. So like, let's say if you have a few more supplies at home. When I mean supplies, that you have, maybe you have some spray paints, and I wouldn't use them without adult supervision or obviously getting the approval to use them. But you could spray paint all your rocks if you wanted to. I didn't have a ton of super flat rocks either, so you could just buy, I know that you can, I've even looked on Amazon, you can buy, and just online in general, everyone uses Amazon these days, but you can buy rocks that are completely flat and dark or white. So if you start to really have a lot of fun with this and get into that, you can. Okay, I am gonna put this brush down. I may go back to that brush, but I'm gonna use a smaller brush here. This is a square brush, same as that one. Okay, but this one's a little bit more slender. And I'm going to use a little bit of the orange kind of coming off here. And I am going to kind of let it burst. If I was to do some storytelling with some friends and we're using these camping rocks, they need to understand what the image is. Okay, so you can keep it very simple and basic, or you can kind of layer different colors and really get into, almost like you could turn this into its own little fine art painting. So it can be as crafty or as fine art as you would like, okay? That's the beauty of it. I mean, I don't know them personally, but I follow and I see professional artists that paint rocks, and I think it's amazing. It's nothing that I've ever gotten into. Mrs. Konechka from the McGuire Elementary, and she teaches a little bit at Fancher too. She's really good at rock painting, so maybe she can show you sometime. I should have gotten one of her examples to show on here. Okay, now I'm going to start adding a little bit of red. Just going to kind of go in like this. So you can see sometimes the rock, it usually sits, the acrylic paint sits on the rock pretty good. Tempera can be a little bit more, so basically tempera and acrylic, tempera and watercolor. I mean, watercolor is pretty understandable why you wouldn't want to use that. But tempera, the colors are not as vibrant. Yes, you can use them totally fine. They're just not going to last as long. And they are a little bit more of a liquid base. They have a little bit more water in them, and so, which makes it just a little bit more challenging to paint. All right, I'm gonna go back with my yellow in here. Just kind of mixing some of these colors around. All right, my son is going to see, now I can see some of the orange, which I like. Just kind of going for. Okay. I would suggest, if you want to do, notice I'm kind of, sorry, sometimes I'm switching my brushes and not telling you. You can use this is a smaller fine tip around brush, and that's allowing me to get some more of those details. This is how I want my son to look, because this is how I kind of imagine it. Okay, this big ball of fire here. It's giving us some beautiful heat and enjoyable days lately. Hopefully you've been able to get outside, and I'm hoping that you're going to be able to enjoy this whole at-home camping experience. Maybe be able to get yourself a tent, or even create your own fort inside. Use your imagination. Be creative. Think about your whole space that you're in, okay? And how can you create that as this whole camping experience? So, done with that one. Put this stuff off to the side. Acrylic dries pretty fast. You could go one step further and seal these with like an acrylic seal, and even like a waterproofing seal, like that would be like in a spray can. I'm not going to do that right now, obviously, and I haven't. I'm not planning on taking and leaving these outside for them to get wet for long periods of time. So if that is not you right now, then don't worry about it. If you do plan on keeping these outside, you are definitely going to want to seal them because you want them to last, okay? So now that we've done, I had these all painted ahead of time, and I just kind of wanted to show you my different rocks. Okay, I've got my sunshine. This is my campsite. Those are my tents. This is my different grass. I layered some different colors. I also want to tell you that I also used black and white colored pencils. So let's say if you're like, Mrs. Egg, I don't have any opportunity to get paints. No big deal. You could also just use colored pencils. Now, just think about it. Certain colored pencils, the darker colored pencils are going to work well on your lighter surface rocks, okay? So like this one, lighter surface rock. There's my kayak, right? Nice and pink, because I think I would get a pink kayak if I ever did get a pink kayak. Right here, we've got just a water scene. I picked this rock for the water scene because I just absolutely love this background. It really feels like it came out of like a mountain. So I was imagining like, well, what if there were like mountains in the background and I was like camping in the Smoky Mountains or something. But also had some kind of like water, pond, river, small lake nearby. You can really, when you go camping, there's lots of opportunities. This is a storm, okay? I don't know about you, but every time I've went camping, it's always rained. Not all day, not every day, but it just has rained. So that's just reality there for me. So that's why I did that. And you can see some of the white colored pencil on there. And obviously we got to have ourselves a campfire. So I could think of so many more images that I could put on rocks. So what kind of, like camp food, okay, marshmallows, hot dogs, I mean, hobos, whatever you eat at a campfire, that could be a rock. Different animals. What animals do you see when you're out in nature, okay? So think about that and you can put more on there, all right? You could do like a hiking trail, a tree. So whatever your imagination wants to use or comes out from your actual experience from camping. Maybe you're just like a veteran camper and your family camps all the time. Then you are going to have lots of things to put on these rocks. So the storytelling part. Okay. Now, obviously you could write this out, but I really feel, and like I said earlier, that this type of storytelling is meant to be like spoken. It's meant to be talked about and enjoyed by people that you're camping with. So, and it's fun. It's fun. So how you would do this is you just kind of, so if I'm just by myself, all right, let's just go with, here's my story. Okay. I'm making it up in my head right now. All right. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna go like this. All right, so once upon a time, there was a family that went camping. It was a beautiful day. It was their first day camping. The sun was shining and bright, not a cloud in the sky. So then they decided to take out their kayaks and take their kayaks down to the nice little river that was nearby. And they were just going to kayak and have fun and enjoy this beautiful day and just let loose. So as they were kayaking on their little river there, what pops up? But all of a sudden, some clouds are coming. And they are some big old storm clouds. And then there is a storm that is happening. So they got to race back to their campsite and get in their shelters, their tents, stay there for quite a while. And of course, they got rained on, so they're real cold and wet. Eventually, the storm stops. They got to go find some wood that did not get rained on. And they build themselves a nice little fire and they sit around and they just enjoy themselves. The end. Okay, so that just came right out of my brain, just made up, using my imagination. But just think of all the possibilities, okay? So I could start out, oh, it was a nice sunny day, and the family comes to their campsite, and they set their campsite up. They go ahead and they start their fire, and I don't know. Now that I think about this as I keep going, maybe I don't want there to be a storm, so you don't have to use every rock. Okay, so I think this is pretty fun. I've learned a lot from it, and I hope that it'll be fun for you. I'm excited to see what you put on your rocks, and I really hope that you send me some pictures. So send it to my email, ayeagley@mountmp.edzone.net, and I would like to see what you come up with. If you want to write a little story along with it, or just photograph your rocks in order, then maybe I can just have some fun and see what kind of story imagine what kind of story you made up. So I hope this was fun, and I hope that you enjoy your kind of at home or kind of virtual camp week. I know that we all wish that you could have this experience. So I hope that this will be something fun and refreshing for you to do. Have a great rest of your week and a wonderful summer. Take care. Bye.